I'll just very quickly let you know, if you haven't been here, from the Philippines. Hey, Arnold. For those of you who do know, you're hearing this yet again. I am a facilitator, not a trainer. Close at heart. I love that, Catherine. You're awesome. Thank you. Hello. I'm a facilitator, not a trainer. So join in the chat. Rather than don't come off mute. That makes the recording quite difficult. But if you can just chat with me as we're going along, I'll check in. How's that going with you? How does that land? Please give me feedback. Give me a thumbs up, encouragement, or a thumbs down. You need some more clarity. Please keep it as interactive as possible, because the whole time I'm calibrating how this is landing, someone in Armin in Jordan, amazing. Thank you so much for being here. I want to make it relevant to you, not just deliver what I want to say. So your input and you owning your journey with me is really fundamental to how this whole model works. So can I get a thumbs up that that's something we can bring to this if we're invited? Great, that's wonderful. So I'm going to go, thank you so much, everybody. You're awesome. I'm going to go do my best to share slides. And as we know, that's been quite the thing for me, but let's do it. I believe in me. Here we go. I've so got this. So we'll go to screen one and then we'll screen the whole thing. Oh, I nailed it. Okay, so we're at class 3. We've done goal setting versus heartfelt living. We've done seeing the whole person. And now we're looking at welcoming what the person can't or won't accept, or perhaps doesn't know they need to accept. That's possible as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to recap silly fast. So if you haven't been here, maybe you won't quite follow the recap that well, but I don't want to spend too much time at the start revisiting class 1 and 2, but it is worth firing up the neurology around it. So I'm just going to touch on it. I'm going to fly through it. And as I said, if this is your first class, it's probably worth going back to 1 and 2 rather than relying on the recap. But if you've been to the previous 2 classes, I'm sure you will follow along, and hopefully it will fire up neurology and seem familiar to you, which would be wonderful. So let's get into it. Recap. So class 1, we looked at goal setting, and I just proposed a series of questions. So what if goal setting was sometimes, potentially, an unconscious way to escape feelings of not being enough, not worthy, not lovable, or not belonging? That's a possibility. And in my experience as a coach who's done more hours than I've ever counted, really, really possible. And what if instead of buying into that with the client, we helped the client to uncover the truth of their wholeness rather than the presupposition they're not enough, which is why they're setting a goal in the first place? Something to consider. And what if instead of helping the client protect themselves from future hurt or future fear, prevent future hurt, or provide them with safety, predictability, or control, we help them recognize their own wholeness. And then they don't need all the guardrails, and they can set goals from a whole place rather than from a more fearful place. And so then we looked at the second class, which is seeing the whole person. And I gave you an example of a coaching session I'd done where the client wanted to, you might remember, fix the relationship. And instead I brought the focus of the coaching to the part of them, the aspect of them that wanted to fix things because they thought it would give them more protection. And we eventually arrived at a place where I was able to hold space for the hurt that yearned for the relationship to be fixed, so they felt they were more in control. And when this part of this client stopped driving the decision-making, the goal to fix things, they were able to arrive at a calmer place and very healthy, which is a very functional map. Let this person be as they choose because we can't control them. And the way they were being was vague, under-communicating, distant, drama. And then let my client learn to deal with what comes up as a result of that. And I hope you're seeing the difference between trying to fix it by getting the friend or their partner, whoever it was, the girlfriend, to change, versus I'm going to use this as an opportunity to see what's coming up for me. And that's where my expansion can come. Can I get a thumbs up if that's, even if it's just intuitively landing as something worth considering in coaching? Just give me some indication. Wonderful. Oh, good on you, Margaret. You went nuts with lots of thumbs. So that's the gold standard. And then what we explored in that second class was helping our clients be comfortable with their discomfort, being open to whatever comes up, not trying to fix any emotion. And we're going to look at more of how to do that in this class. Hopefully in the next session, the final class, I'll do another demonstration. I'll bring a demonstration to life so you can see this in action. Invite whatever's there to be present. We're creating space for what is behind the goal. Because behind the goal, and we're going to look at it in this class in detail, what could be motivating the goal. Not always, but often. And so some of the language we explored is thank you. Can we be with this for a moment? Can we invite that in? It's welcome with me. I love the layers that you bring. It's very permissive, invitational type of language. And then if we're going to get into this, I love how quickly I got through that. I appreciate that was very quick. So again, the classes are there. But let's have a look at what it is people generally struggle to be with. And this is the behind the scenes motivation for many goals. So people often struggle with that list of emotions. And I'd love your thoughts on that. Let me see if I can see the chat. I don't know how. Here we go. All right. Yeah, great. I've got the chat going on my screen. I hope that's not annoying for you. But how's that landing for you that a lot of people struggle? And this list is not complete. I actually just really got tired of typing the list because, you know, I need to get through it. But what do you think of that list? That's what a lot of people are wanting. Yeah, they're often frowned upon emotions. Thank you, Keely. Please keep the comments coming a little more rapidly, and I just want to facilitate and check in. For some people, happiness needs to be on that list. Pride. For some people, they go into a shame spiral if they get a compliment. Rejection isn't a feeling, it's something that happens, but the feeling could be loneliness, and it could be a feeling of, I don't belong. Yeah, a lot of people don't want to go there. Grief is on the list, absolutely. Failure. So failure is something that occurs. And the feeling, what would be the feeling behind failure? It could be a feeling of what? Despondence or sadness or something. Yeah, it could be insufficient. Again, it's a little auditory digital, but it could be. Yeah, so just start considering what I'm suggesting. I've made a real mess of my wires here. If you know me at all, you know me and IT have a very hit and miss relationship. So I'm moving many wires at great personal risk. Here we go. Yeah, loss, grief, loss, loneliness, really important emotions to tune into when you're working with a client at this level. I didn't get really many of you commenting. Is this landing well? Is this a challenge for you? For those of you who didn't comment, I appreciate the thumbs up. Thanks, Clive. It's good to see you. It's landing well. Okay, just because I don't mind if you don't comment, as long as you help me stay attuned to how this is landing for you, even if it's just intuitively at this stage. Okay, great. Keep it coming. I rock on. Thanks, Greg. How are you? Okay. We are different personalities. Some go to anger. Well, anger is a surface emotion. It's a secondary emotion. Under anger always is shame, guilt, hurt, and fear, or fear. So anger is always secondary. It's a powerful emotion that gives us a false feeling of power. And under that emotion is always going to be a sense of loss. Yeah, you would say, I was working out today the number of different fields of research that I draw upon to arrive at this model, which is uniquely mine. And I must say, Michael Singer is in the mix, maybe not directly, but certainly he has informed my philosophy to an extent, not a great extent, but yeah. I like the message in the last session is putting our feelings aside so we can be present to their emotions, fully present. So this is what people are struggling to be with And given that, let's keep going. What if someone is setting goals in an attempt to fix, suppress, not deal with, or deny those emotions? Try that on. What if a goal was set? And I'm about to give you some examples, but just try intuitively what that would mean. No, it's good to have you, Victoria. Try it on. Like, what if a goal was set because the client unconsciously was attempting to avoid dealing with emotions they'd never learnt to sit with comfortably? It does make sense, like intuitively. And if you don't know how yet or the mechanisms, they're denying that part of themselves. And whatever we deny in ourselves, this is gold. Yeah, the goal is to escape. It's to escape themselves. So many goals, when we achieve them, there's a sense of emptiness. Cross coaching, yeah. So not everybody around the world knows my model around that, but yeah, it's the surface level coaching. I'll coach you to hit your goal so you can get the thing you want, because the Lamborghini will change how you feel about yourself. No, it won't. It's a compensation. So I don't have to deal with how I feel about myself. And that's the crux of the whole thing. Now, one of the key philosophies here is whatever emotional state a client hasn't learned to deal with yet, they can't handle or deal with out in the world. So they'll walk around, if they say they want a great relationship, but they haven't dealt with the emotions that are involved in a relationship inevitably, but they say their goal is to have a wonderful, loving relationship, but they haven't dealt with their anger or their grief or particularly shame, which is a very almost invisible state often, they will deny those very emotions in their partner, which means the relationship is limited and they will never be able to have the fulfilling relationship they want. Now, I'm going to go super advanced, unapologetically. Here it comes. Many people who aren't in touch with these emotions will go into a relationship and deny the expression of those emotions. And some people who are really in denial about these emotions and have a lot of shame around them, brace for it, will deliberately provoke those emotions in their partner because they can't experience them themselves. So if they aren't in touch with their anger, they'll prod their partner until they're angry as a way of getting that release, getting it express. And it's all unconscious, but that could be going on as well. Is this interesting? Like, to me, this is just, yeah, it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So it's so powerful. And try being a leader or someone with responsibilities. Oh, Greg, I know. I love that for you. And going into the world, not in touch with all our emotions and thinking we're a whole person able to make capable decisions. Yet we're projecting onto the world constantly this sense of lack within ourselves that we're not in tune with. So what if goals were set to, what if instead of the gap we just explored, what if as coaches, we approached goal setting as a way of integrating all the suppressed emotions, all those shamed, judged, rejected, denied, suppressed parts? Try that on. And that by doing, so just follow the intuitive line here. If we help this client get in touch and integrate every emotional state that they've been denying until now, if we help them do that, stay with me here, and they embrace every emotional state, would that bring them closer to their sense of wholeness? So people want to feel whole. People want to feel that they're enough. People want to feel that they're worthy. But as long as they're judging or rejecting an emotion, how can they ever feel that they're worthy or enough? Is your mind blown? Like, I just love this. I love that sentence. So we crave the wholeness and to feel at peace within ourselves. Whatever we feel we lack or that we're not enough, what if the not enoughness was the judgment of an emotional state that we weren't attending to and never learned to? So to feel whole, we need to integrate that which we have denied. How does this sit with you? To me, it's just thrilling, and It's life itself. It's like my most important work. I love that you love it. Keep the comments coming because I can only see 3 of you with the screen share. So the comments really matter to me. How do we do it? Yeah, let's get into it a bit more. You live for it, me too. I've got another level to give you first though, because if we're going to do this, let's go all in. Yeah, so we think we need to find love from another to feel complete. I'll give you a really great story here before we move on. All in, baby. You guys are amazing. It's such a joy to be with you. Such a joy to do this. I was doing a meditation in a group that was being led by, I think he's a Buddhist. And he said, create a scene in your mind where you felt content, goodwill, love, joy, whatever you want to feel. And I just had an experience that day. And I was sitting there just smiling away, just remembering this scene. And it was just lovely. And it's like I felt so much goodwill. So I have access to goodwill. Wonderful. Then he said, now take the scene away, but stay with the feeling. And it clicked for me, and you might have already clicked. It wasn't the scene that created the goodwill. The scene simplified up that which was already in me. So that's a beautiful pathway if you want to help your client feel a certain thing. And I hope you love it like I love it. Like it's a 2-step process. And the client now has an undeniable view of who they're capable of being. So it could be contentment. I never feel content. Picture a scene from your past where you felt content, or you felt that you were with someone, they really helped you feel content. And yeah, I've got it. Great. Now we have them go into it, fully associate, do the whole sensory experience. Okay, now step the scene aside and remain with the feeling. But I can't. It's because of them. But is it? They didn't give you a feeling. They helped evoke what was already in you. It is you that brought the feeling. And I think what a lot of people do, they make the mistake in love if they're givers. And I speak of myself in this category. It's a very loving relationship because I'm so loving and I'm so giving. And let me know if you relate to this. And then they withdraw or whatever, there's a rupture and no repair or whatever. And I'm left with, well, what happened to the love? Well, I brought the love. It was always me. So the person might have evoked what was already in me. And I love this, but it was already in me. Nature is a great way to get there. How do you feel in nature? For some people, it's stressful. And for some people, meditation isn't the pathway. It can be stressful. And I appreciate that and I honor that. Whatever your pathway is, it's you. Whatever it is you. So that's one pathway to help your client get in touch. But let's keep going because there's so many more layers to this. I'm mindful of the time. I love your wow. You're awesome. Thank you for the. So here's some goals. Catherine, let me get to, can we imagine a feeling we have never had? Could you copy and paste your question? Because I just want a bit of a roll going. I want to cover this slide and then we can come to it maybe a bit later if that's okay with you. Because that's a great question. Absolutely a great question. And the technique to get there might take a little to explain. So let me stay with this if that's okay. Hopefully you copied and pasted. So look at these goals. If I get a great marriage, I won't feel so lonely. If I cut through this traffic, I won't feel so angry. If they get out of my way, I won't be as frustrated. If it doesn't rain, I won't be as resentful. If I avoid this disagreement, I won't feel my shame. It's a really common one. There's a lot of people on the planet who are hurt when it comes to conflict. They never learned to have a healthy conflict. And because of that, they'll shut down conflict, which means they can never, please follow this, have a healthy relationship. If I get this job, it'll prove I'm not afraid. If I can just people please enough and keep the peace, no one will know how afraid I am of being judged or being excluded, whatever it is. If I get into the medical school, I'll finally be accepted. I'll feel acceptable. If my wife just stopped nagging me, we would be fine. There is so much research on the fallacy of that sentence. So much research out of the Gottman Institute that is a fallacy. And if you ever find yourself saying that and you're the masculine energy, just know you have a fallacy going. It will not improve the relationship, thinking if she stops nagging, the day she stops nagging is the day she gives up and you lost her. So the nagging is indicative of love. So we're really looking here at the motivation of the goal. And hopefully you can see here, there are some motivations for goals that maybe we can achieve these states, not feeling lonely, not feeling sad, without going for a life-changing goal, marrying. What do you do if the client is on the spectrum, so has difficulties as a result to express emotions, doesn't want to go there? Yeah, okay, so you're doing, Margaret, a massive what if for somebody who's neurodivergent. That is outside the scope of my capability as a coach. So I am limited. My constraints as a coach are I would be very challenged to be in a position of an expert right now to guide you on how to work with someone who's neurodivergent and struggles to access these emotions because of neurodivergence versus dissociation. With dissociation, very comfortable, very, very comfortable, emotionally shut down, very comfortable. But where it's a biological creation, I am actually going to really have to not put in my view here, if that's okay. I just want to respect the scope of coaching, and that's not within my scope. So let's keep going. This is where we're really getting into it. What if and if you loved that, watch this. What if we combine the emotional states we just talked about and the others that are related to it? You're welcome. And we started to get the fuller picture of this client's motivations by also including what we looked at in last class, which is their needs, their universal needs. So let's have a look, because now it's getting wild. What if we had everything that's just on the page now as unconscious motivations? So all the emotions that they're trying to avoid or trying to deny are important through goal setting, and layer that over with needs being met in inappropriate ways or in unhealthy ways. So are you following what I'm saying? I'm not getting much back and I can't see anyone. So just like literally, I can't see a single participant. So if you can let me know. I will keep going. Can I repeat it? Yes. Yeah, it's lots of coaching. I will say it again, and please don't have me prompt you next time to say it again. Please jump in and ask for clarity. That's what I'm here for. So what if many goals were set from a place of wanting to avoid an emotional state? So I don't want to go into my loneliness, so I'm going to stay in a loveless marriage, for example. Or I'm going to stay in a loveless marriage. I want to make this marriage work, even though it's really hurting me, because at least I have the safety of the predictability of staying, which is a need being met. I'm neurodivergent, ADHD, and this coaching approach has been, yes, great. So if somatic coaching helps you, wonderful. I'm going to go a little advanced here and say I'm not a fan of CBT for neurodivergence or pretty well anything. So cognitive behavioral therapy, I think it's a little outdated, exclusively relying on thinking and completely neglecting everything from the neck down. And I think it actually encourages overthinking and you know the word I'm trying to say, analysis. So I'm much more a fan of the somatic approach that I'm suggesting here. So thank you. Thank you, Greg. So I'll say this again. So what if many goals were set from a place, yes, of trying to escape emotions that we feel uncomfortable with, which I've listed, and have been set in an unhealthy desire to meet needs in perhaps not an appropriate way. For example, if my goal is to stay in this marriage and make it work, even though I'm miserable, because go to the needs list, it makes me feel safe because it's predictable. At least I know what's going to happen. It's something. It meets the need for belonging. I won't be alone. Let's go to the emotional list. Loneliness is on the list. if I can just make them see, like I can do this for a bad marriage all the way through. Let's go to the third need, to feel we're enough, worthy, or we matter. If I can just get them to see that I matter, then I'll feel okay. How am I doing here? Like if we look at how we get our needs met and what emotional states cause us the most discomfort, we're starting to see what can motivate someone and can dominate their entire life. Yeah, client may set a goal intuitively or because the world wants it. So they're doing an unconscious goal based on none of this because they're not aware of it. Are we here to help the client to set the appropriate goal? It depends on your philosophy of coaching. I am not here to help a client achieve any goal they want just because they tell me to. I'm not a goal dispenser. I'm an entire human being who has a philosophy of coaching, and I'm going to be authentically all of me in the coaching. So if they set the goal, help me stay in this loveless marriage and make them love me, I will say you could get a coach to help you do that. It probably won't work. Or we can use the research and look at what's really going on and underlying this, because making them love you is an impossibility. Helping you love yourself enough to not try to chase someone into loving you would probably be a healthier goal. I don't say it as fast as that. I don't say it as succinctly as that, but that's my approach. I do not, as a coach the client on any goal they want. It's unecological. So an ecological goal is good for them, it's good for those around them, and it's good for the greater good. There is no greater good served in coaching someone to stay in a loveless marriage. How am I doing here? There could be an exception, like, but what if they, yeah, okay, there could be a what if, but generally, how am I doing here? Yeah, so beginner coaches, you may be thinking, I'm just going to coach someone anything. No, you coach them which is aligned with your philosophy of coaching. And you might not have a philosophy of coaching yet. That's okay. It will come. But you're asking me? No, I do not coach a client on any goal they want. I gave that up 10, 12 years ago. I suppose you wouldn't tell them you aren't going to, I assume, coach the goal. Yeah, I am upfront, Catherine. I'm phenomenally upfront. And if we get time, let me look at I might have time to demo if you want to do a demo with me and come up with a goal that philosophically is not aligned with the research. I'll show you how I do it. And then the next question will be, but you will have to say why. Well, rather than starting a sentence with but, as coaches, we know that that's a negator. So maybe choose the language a little differently. That would be wonderful. And why don't we let the demonstration happen rather than predicting what I'm going to do? Because I don't know what I'm going to do until I meet the client. So I'm not predicting or trying to control how this conversation goes. So I'm just going to be open to what happens. So let me get through. So I hope that page is opening your eyes to what's possible. And then if we look at the next page, in the needs, if needs are met in conditioned ways and in unconscious ways, we're going to meet these needs. Please follow this through manipulating our environment. The need to feel safe and secure. We're going to constantly seek perhaps reassurance or someone doing everything and controlling them and everything the way we want them to be. Are you taking care of that person who can't see the slides? There's nothing I can do.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, so how we meet these needs is everything. And I'll do my best in the next session to bring to life a healthy way to meet leads, but this is only 4 classes. This is a 20-hour, this could be a 20-hour class. Here's the thing. Most people don't know their needs. Most people deny they have needs. Most people, if I tell them you have all of these needs, won't believe it. And then if I tell them these are your needs, like literally the research says everybody has all these needs, they will say, I have no idea how I meet them. It's all unconscious. So imagine the beautiful coaching fertile territory you have to uncover, when you get good at it, how to help the client become aware of these needs, how to tune into them, learn how they meet them, and then meet them in a healthy way. It's a whole process. It's beautiful. But simplest example, I'm trying to meet all my needs through my husband. And he is dismissive avoidant in attachment theory. That basically means he distances himself, withdraws, stonewalls, gets defensive, won't engage in important conversations around emotions, and denies he has any needs. We are still going to meet all our needs in an unhealthy way. I'm pointing at the slides right now, because we will meet our needs. You can never say my needs aren't being met. You can only say I'm meeting them in ways that are hurting me. Try that on. And I speak from experience when I say this. So you can literally be in a relationship meeting all your needs in ways that hurt you. So then the coaching is a joy, because it becomes about picking each need up. How do you meet this need? I meet it through nagging them, or trying to make them see me and acknowledge me, or I try and teach them how to feel emotions. It's like insanity. These are all insane ways. Like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome to try and meet your needs. What if, as the coach, you coach them to meet these needs for themselves? We're always meeting a need, Catherine. All our needs are always being met. It's whether or not they're in a functional or dysfunctional way, and we're meeting the need ourselves or through someone else or something else. And the more we externalize the meeting of our needs, the more of a slave we are to our external environment. So the ideal is to be able to meet most of these needs most of the time for ourselves. Most people would have no clue how to do that. And they're setting goals to try to not know this, all unconscious. It's not deliberate. So I hope this is just awesome. So we set goals to avoid the emotions we haven't loved yet. We set goals to try and meet our needs outside of ourselves. And then we come to a coach like me and they say, I want to do a $100 million business. And I know this. This is awesome information. Greg says, example, belong and connected imposter syndrome. Yeah. My brain's exploding. I love that. I'll clean up the mess. Let me think about that. Is that imposter syndrome? I don't know. I'd have to know the client. I'm not very good at hypotheticals, darling, as you know. I'd have to meet the client and yeah, I don't know. I love that. Big fan. Anyway, so we're starting to see an emerging picture of what gets in the way of the wholeness of people and why they don't feel whole, because all of that's going on, plus a whole bunch of other stuff. But these are the two main focuses of this masterclass. They're all unconscious. Most people are doing this automatically. They're patterns. They don't even know they're doing it. And it's pushing us away and burying our wholeness under this, what I call rubble. And so coaching to me is removing the rubble of all of these unconscious ways we have of convincing ourselves and propping ourselves up and making ourselves feel that we're okay. And the more conscious all of this is, the healthier the client's map. That's the key. You know, the term map of reality. So the healthier map of reality comes about because the unconscious is made conscious, as Carl Jung says. Until the unconscious is made conscious, our patterns govern our lives, and we call it luck or fate. So we're using Carl Jung here to bring to life that which up until now has been in the darkness. Yeah, we are already whole. We simply just add all this rubble on top of it to hide it and convince ourselves we're not. Then we go and live our lives from the rubble, thinking if I get this, and I fix that, and I fix them, and I control that, I'll feel whole, when the whole time all we had to do was remove the rubble. That's the punchline to this 4 sessions. Yeah, so it's wonderful. Catherine has a question. They always are meeting a need. Always meeting. Yeah, I said that. We're always meeting a need. Yeah, I did say that. Okay, so let's look at how we can start coaching it. And then I'll give this like 5 minutes and then we'll do a quick demo. I can't remember what I was doing the demo of, but I'm happy. Oh, it's when the client comes up with a goal that I'm not going to go along with. So these are, you'll get the slides, you'll get the recordings. These are some of, yes, you'll get all of it, obviously. Just have it. I'm here to serve. That's why I'm here. So what need is this goal meeting for you? Now, the client's probably going to say, I have no idea what you're talking about. And that's where you just remove your coaching hat and move to a little bit of psychoeducation, explain the needs, and just start. And it'll just be degrees on the spectrum of awareness or non-awareness. And you start from wherever the client's at. So, and it might be safety. They might come up with safety. Great. And how are you meeting that need? Through making sure they never leave me. So the only way you can feel safe is if they stay. You can imagine the coaching conversation from that. So what if they left? Would you always feel unsafe for the rest of your life? Like, hopefully already as coaches, you can tell all the directions you can take this conversation, but any external reliance for a need is going to need to be challenged. It's a presupposition you need to challenge. As I said, Catherine, they wouldn't be aware of it, and it'd be on a spectrum of awareness, and you use your coaching skills to become aware of where they sit on the spectrum. Exactly. And most people are not aware. Yeah, it is. It's an entire strategy for how to do a coaching session on this. So there's some questions for you. I'm not going to read them. You'll get the slides. I already know them. Let's have a look. They're fun. And then we've got a whole bunch of questions to ask around emotions. And this is where I think it's really important, because the needs can be a little bit analytical in over-reliance on intelligence. And I'm always mindful that we need to balance intelligence with intuition. And we're only a whole person if we bring both. And so this is helping them get below the neck. So, and this is the kind of language I use. So where's the sadness in your body, which makes it more real, or whatever the emotion is. Can we welcome it? And I'll do it in the next session. That's literally what I'll be demonstrating, but we're actually pretty good for time now. We'll see how I go. I already know all this. I'll just click through. There's some more questions we'll ask. You'll get the slides and the recording. I would rather do a demonstration than anything else. So can we have someone who's got a goal that, just please make it up, who can come off mute, and I'll start demonstrating having a successful business to show my son we can lead a better life with me as a single mom. Wow. Despite all the challenges, helping other women. That's just beautiful. I love that. Is there someone who can come off mute and just play, and I'll just do a demonstration of something, and I might get rid of the slides.
I'd love to.
I don't know who I was, but I'm certainly in.
Me, Victoria.
Just saying me. I love that. You're gold. Me. Where's Victoria? Me, Victoria. Can Victoria wave to me, please? There you are. Okay, great. And so just be mindful, Victoria, I'll only do the demonstration that it successfully demonstrates that what I'm wanting to show. Sure. If it doesn't demonstrate, I will stop. And it's nothing personal. It's not you. It's simply I'm only here to teach this content, not everything else. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great. So I'm not going to do the whole setup that I would do for coaching, which would be quite a bit. Is that okay if we just drop in and I'm just mindful of the time and we pretend we've been together for 20 years? Would that be okay?
I love it.
Yeah, great. Thank you for your generosity of spirit. So share with me, why did you call the meeting?
Because I really want to start a successful business in doing life coaching, following many challenges of being in a really dark place at the end of the year last year.
Can I just pause you?
Yeah.
Is this real?
Yes.
So I would coach this. I remember the role play I asked for was one where it's a goal I wouldn't coach you on.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I literally said
I'm lost in my own. I'm lost in my own thoughts.
Yeah, I get that. So what I really need, and quickly as possible, is someone to demonstrate what you asked me to demonstrate, which is a goal I wouldn't agree with, so I can show you how I navigate to a different.
Okay, I want to be rich. I want $1 million.
Yeah, I possibly would coach that. You're going to have to go further. You just make it so obvious that it's go further.
Okay.
I want to fix my partner, or I want world peace, or just something that's way outside of your control. Earning $1 million, totally within your control.
Oh, okay. I don't think I'm actually ready to give you that. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Who can demo it? It's a role play, guys.
I'll go. Clive will go.
Yeah,
Okay.
Catherine.
Go, Karen.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
Who's going?
Okay. Well, Clive said for me to go, so I'm happy to.
Right.
My thought was, I want I haven't got a partner, but we'll role play. I
Please,
want to
I beg
change
you.
the fact. I want to change the fact that my partner doesn't see things the way I do. I don't understand why I'm treated the way I am.
No, I'd coach that. I'd help you understand why you're treated the way you are. Guys,
Okay.
just somebody, I beg you, for the love of, say to me, I want my partner to change.
Yes.
I'm blaming them. Just someone, for the love of, say that. Oh my God.
I want my partner to change. I just said it.
Thank you. Thank you. That's taken 5 minutes, guys. Yeah. All right. So tell me, and just make it up. I beg you, make it up. How come? Tell me about that.
Because he doesn't get it. He goes through life like everybody owes him everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there are 1,000 ways to shift this goal. This is the one I'm choosing in this moment. So you can't script what I'm about to do, guys, but it's the pathway I'm going to follow because it's what's present in me now intuitively. Okay, so he thinks the world owes him everything and you want that to change. Is that how you're seeing it?
Well, doesn't owe anybody anything.
I'm just
I
say
want
yes.
that to change. Yeah.
Remember, it's just a role play. You just go yes,
Yeah,
so I can actually
fine,
demonstrate
I'm fine.
coaching. Okay, so this is what I would do, I think, but there are 1,000 pathways. So here's the thing. We could put time and energy and focus into coaching that. Here's my philosophy that I would love to share with you, and there's an invitation here to consider it or try it on, and just intuitively how it sits with you, Karen, that in attempting to change them, fix them, get them to be different, what part of you are you neglecting? So if all this focus is on them, what about you are you not attending to?
Now, do you want me to answer so you can?
Thank you.
Imagine. Well, I'm not neglecting anything. It's all him.
Yeah. So we'll pause. That's going to be my pathway. Do you see, everyone, how I moved it from the external to the internal? Now, I don't mind that we're now going to get into it, but I will not coach her on getting the husband to change. That's not going to happen. Okay. So however we get there, and I don't mind that it might take a little bit of time. Generally, I work with clients who want to be self-aware. So I wouldn't generally have a huge amount of opposition because I only work with clients who want self-awareness and have a level of self-awareness. So if I got this blatant, it's not me, it's them, this is completely wrong, I probably would pass on the coaching. I'm not going to give up right now, but just so you know, I am all good to let the person have their limits and defend them and me not convince them otherwise. That is also part of the philosophy of how I coach. I'm not here to convince anyone. There's an invitation. If they take the invitation, wonderful. If they don't, have your life. All the best. Find that coach for that. Is that landing for everybody? Yeah. So maybe just soften a little because I wouldn't coach that. Does that make sense, Karen? So I really want you to take up my invitation and be that self-aware person. So, because I'm not here to demonstrate where it's really hard. That isn't the point of my masterclass.
Okay.
So what if you're wanting them to change and put so much effort into them being different, what is it that you think it'll give you if they did change, or if you put all this effort into them changing?
Well, I'd be happy.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. So for you, the pathway to happiness is him stopping doing this thing, the thinking the world owes him. And you reckon then you'd be happy?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Do you mind if we unpack that a little bit and just take it for a spin and see what happens?
Okay.
Okay isn't a yes. Is that a yes?
Sorry, yeah, yes.
Great.
That would be
Wonderful.
good. That would be good.
Yeah. Great. So what's coming up for me, and I'd be curious to know your thoughts on this, that the sentence, I'll be happy when, there's quite a bit of research showing that that's how we teach our brains to delay happiness. Have you heard about that?
No, I can't say as I have.
Yeah, just try it on intuitively. I'll be happy when something else outside of me changes. Where are we placing responsibility for our happiness?
Yeah, I guess I am putting it on out there. But
And it feels comfortable. I get that, doesn't it? It feels comfortable if they change. It'd make my life so much easier if he just stopped doing that. How am I doing?
absolutely, yeah, you never
Yeah,
know.
of course. Of course, I get that. And it's human nature to be that way, absolutely. But here's the thing. If we're going to put responsibility for our happiness in someone else, what's the potential here that could happen?
Well, he'd have, yeah. Well, he's got the control at the moment because I'm not happy.
Yeah, because you've given him control. Yeah, what would be really something is if he was sent here as your spiritual guide to teach you that happiness is within you. And he's going to keep poking you to not feel happy until you realize it was always within you. Wouldn't that be a trip?
That would be a complete trip. But then I'd be asking myself, so what happens when he achieves what he's been sent here for? Does that mean I won't have him anymore?
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful existential question. Shall we take it for a spin?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I love that. So there's so many different avenues here, Karen, for us to explore. So let's just bring it back. Let's just bring it back. So if we coach you for him to change, does he need to be in the room?
No.
Yes, he does. Think about it. Come on. Like this
okay,
isn't
yeah.
complicated.
He does, okay, yes, he does. Right. I've got two heads on at the moment. I've got what you've been teaching me, and I've got
Yeah.
my role model.
But I'm being in the role play right now. I would say that, like, but it's common sense. Like, try it on. Like, really, I'm going to get you to change your partner when he's not here. Like, I'm not going to do that. Firstly, it's highly arrogant to think that I can change someone who's not here. And it's also incredibly disrespectful that I'm going to coach you to get him to do something. That feels like manipulation to me. That's probably a boundary for me. How's that landing for you?
Yes, yes, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see what you mean. Yeah.
So then there comes the question, can we be happy without them changing? Or we do the really, can I ask you a really big question? And it's not to be answered right now, but can I put a big question out there?
Sure. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Here it comes. Here it comes. What if, I'm just considering because there's like 3 really big questions here for us to play with, but try this one. What if, as long as you get to blame him for his pattern, and I'm not approving of his pattern or anything like that, I'm just saying, what if all the energy you're placing on him is energy you're not giving to yourself?
Hmm. That's scary.
It's big. I get that. It's really a really big, scary existential question, because then ultimately we're left with ourselves, and that can be a really lonely place to be if we haven't done that before. Something to consider.
It is.
Yeah. All right. So can we play with that? And maybe, is there an invitation to unpack that a little bit, do you think?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a lot. These are really big questions and important questions you're bringing, Karen.
Mm. It's an important part of my life.
Yeah, I agree. I love that for you. And I love this space you're in where you're bringing this curiosity. I think it's a beautiful aspect of you.
I appreciate that.
Hmm. The other thing I'm really loving right now is how much this has slowed down. You know, I don't know if you recall in the start, the conversation was a little bit more frantic, and now there's this spaciousness and
I think I felt quite indignant and angry, I guess, at the start.
yeah, your anger is welcome.
Mm.
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 I feel really connected. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
I don't feel alone.
No, I love that for you. Me neither. I love that for you. It's really, it's wonderful. So maybe we can coach from this space. How does that sit with you, land with you, float with you?
I'd like that.
Yeah, okay.
I'd like that.
All right, let's do that. Just take a breath and enjoy our connectedness. Yeah, we're there. Okay, I'm just going to close the role play. Give her a hand. That was so fantastic. Wonderful. And I saw a couple of great questions. Thank you so much, everybody. So one of them from Catherine, would they feel judged? I welcome them feeling judged. I'm okay with the client having any emotion. Like if they said, I feel judged, I welcome your judge. I welcome the concern about being judged. Let's unpack it. I don't mind. I love negative emotions. They're always the engine to rapid change, because most people are never safe expressing a concern. I feel judged. Most people get defensive. They shut it down. They don't want to discuss it. They say, I wasn't judging you. They push back. They do all the same stuff I just talked about in the last 3 classes. And then they come to me and they say, I feel judged. Your concern about being judged is welcome. Let's unpack it together. Share with me what was happening for you. And I consider it, and I'm with them in it, and I'm loving it, and I'm not in any way, could not possibly be defensive about it, because there's an opportunity here. I go into the darkness with them, judgment. I sit in it with them. They feel safe with me in it. I'm now meeting the need for safety and belonging. I'm starting to tickle the needs. I'm taking care of the emotion of judgment, which is blame. I'm starting to go through those lists with their complaint. It's gold. It's like, I want the client to bring their concern. I want it. I welcome it. It's almost like it makes the whole coaching conversation in action, an direct experience of the transformational power of this coaching way, this philosophy of coaching. How's everyone doing? I just want to check in how you're doing with that role play. How's that sitting with you? How's it, what is it bringing anything up for anybody? I get the usual questions. What if? What ifs is our own need to predict what's going to happen. And basically the what if is handled this way. Welcome it. What if they blah? Welcome it. What if blah happens? Welcome it. What if they get upset? Welcome it. Whatever your what if is, welcome it. Embrace it. Nurture it. It is the whole point of this philosophy of coaching. Now we've got 1 minute to go. Any questions? Any comments? Yeah, constantly use the language, there's an invitation here. There's just this language of invitation. If you've worked with me before, I use it hundreds of times. Oh, wow, it's counter to how, yes. Yeah. Where we can go wrong. That's not a question that's, I'll need a bit more guidance with that. What if they don't want to sit with the emotion? Yeah, with just 30 seconds to go. I absolutely respect it. So if you can quickly come off mute, I'll be as fast as I can. and just say, just pick an emotion and say, I don't want to sit with it, Catherine, and I'm gold.
Anger.
Just say, I don't want to sit with it.
I don't want to sit with anger.
Yeah, it's a big emotion, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So I just want to, can we allow the space for that part of you that doesn't want to sit with anger? Can we welcome that?
Oh, no.
Hmm?
No. I'm
So
here to do
can we-
business. I want to do business, not deal with the anger.
Yeah, and what I said was, can we welcome that part of you that doesn't want to do anger? Like, can we just be all good with that part of you that's saying no to anger?
As long as it stays out of the room.
Yeah, and can we be okay with that part of you that wants to keep it out of the room?
Yep.
Great. So, and I'm not feeling that you're okay with it. I hear you saying it, but I'll ask you again. Can you really be okay with that part of you that wants to keep it out of the room?
As long as it stays out there, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have time to keep going, Catherine,
That's
because you
fine.
make it really as tough as, and I really am out of time. But all I do is dissociate until the client feels fine about it. And I took you 3 degrees and you just kept saying no. So like, I'm just out of time. I would just make sure they felt completely compassionate to eventually dissociating enough. And hopefully I'll have time to demonstrate it in the final class. Aurora Dawn, did you want to come on and share anything, or do you want me to wrap up? We've got our last class next week. It was a joy for me to experience it with you. I want to thank Aurora Dawn and for Eleanor for welcoming me and letting me do this.
Remi, this was an absolutely insightful session, full of so much energy.
Good.
The demo was stunning. Thank you.
right.
So we look forward to hosting you for the next session next Tuesday.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. I will see you
Thank
next
you,
week.
Remi. Thank you,
And
Remi.
earlier question. Catherine, I'll do it next week. Please
Thank
bring all the
you.
questions I didn't do, and I'll do a full demo. Thanks, guys.